The gentleman from Fairfax, Mr. Simon.
Speaking to the bill.
Gentleman has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, members of the House, didn't speak on this on second read on Friday because it was Friday. It had already been a long day. But this, I think, is the third or fourth year in a row that we've seen this bill. And so on one sense, I'd like to thank the gentleman from Virginia Beach on behalf of the governor. He's looking to extend his undefeated veto streak, and you've given him sort of a slam dunk on this one. But let me talk about the substance of that as well. This bill addresses what localities can do as consumers, right? Local governments, we're telling them this is how you have to spend your money. You can't spend your money on a contract that requires the contractor to engage in certain what we consider fair labor practices, right? It encourages contractors to pay a fair and living wage. And I think that's wrong. Consumers in my district, my constituents, they drive hybrid cars that are more expensive than comparable gas models, and they'll never make the difference up in fuel savings. But they do it because it's the right thing to do, because they have a conscience about it. We have folks in my district that pay more money for fair trade coffee because it matters to them who picks their coffee beans, where they get the product that they're consuming. We have local governments in Northern Virginia and all over the state that want to have a bit of a conscience about the contracts that they enter into. They want to know that the people doing the work are being paid a fair wage, a minimum wage, a living wage that allows them to live in those communities and live a decent life. And to tell those local governments they can't do that is wrong and shouldn't be the law. And one final note, Mr. Speaker, I saw Hidden Figures this weekend. Great movie. I recommend it to everybody. It's set here in Virginia. John Glenn plays a bit of a side role in this, but he's a hero in the movie. And I'm reminded of John Glenn's quote. What were you thinking as you were hurtling through space? And Glenn's thought was, my only thought was every piece of this rocket was built by the low bidder, right? Sometimes we want an opportunity to buy quality, not just what's going to be the absolute cheapest product in our government contracting. So I would encourage the members of the body. This is a free one for you guys. The minimum wage is a very, very popular issue. We know the governor is going to veto it. So some of you on this side of the aisle, you might want to go ahead and press the red button on this one. You get a free bill that shows that you care about Virginia's workers.
Gentleman from Virginia Beach, Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to speak to the bill.
Gentleman has the floor.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, it was very clear what the fallacy is when the gentleman spoke, and was when he said that when they spend their money, and that's the problem. See, I spent 5 years on city council, and it was never my money. It's the taxpayers' money. And we have a fiduciary responsibility to spend that money wisely, effectively, but also keep it in mind that we have to do it in a manner that saves as much possible to get as much out of it. So there is fallacy. If he'd like to spend more on that coffee at the Ritzy's shop, that's his money. He can do it as he'd like, but when you spend taxpayer money, we should do so without having to artificially raise the price. And additionally, I do understand that the governor did vote this twice. But since I understand he's no longer looking for a position in the administration, I'm thinking he might be able to do the right thing this time, and I hope the body will continue to pass this legislation.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 64, noes 33.
Ayes 64, noes 33. The bill is passed.